In this video, I'm going to show you what is new in Empower Chart Creation version 9.6. First of all, we're going to start with some general information. Due to the significantly changed and optimized data storage, it is not possible to edit charts created with version 9.6 with older versions of Empower. Conversely, it is of course possible to continue editing older charts. This means that when you have an old presentation with charts that were created, for example, with version 9.5, these will be technically migrated upon first selection. So when you click on them, they will be migrated automatically to version 9.6 of Empower. Moreover, the functions of Empower Chart Creation have been consolidated into one add-in that works completely locally and without a sync process. If the .NET 8 version is used, then in version 9.6, two add-ins will be visible if you select add-ins in the options of PowerPoint. The reason for this is that not all non-charting functions, for example the agenda, have been switched to .NET 8 yet. In the future, there will be a pure .NET framework and a pure .NET 8 version of Empower Chart Creation. The .NET 8 version has slightly better performance but requires an Office 64-bit version and an installed .NET 8 desktop runtime. Let's continue with some general improvements that Empower Chart Creation version 9.6 offers you. Numerous performance optimizations have been implemented, including that the PowerPoint startup is only minimally delayed. Chart creation loading takes place in the background after the startup of PowerPoint. Moreover, the data storage has been significantly reduced, and this leads to smaller files despite large and many charts and improved OneDrive synchronization. Next, working with charts, large line charts, many charts on a slide, Gantt charts and Excel links has been performance improved. And the issue that PowerPoint objects occasionally stick to the mouse cursor has been resolved too. Moreover, the performance when creating or editing an agenda has been significantly improved, especially when the process is repeated. To fix minor issues, the following changes have been implemented. Inserting PowerPoint symbols has been possible before too, but works slightly differently now. A PowerPoint symbol can be inserted into a shape if the user has navigated into the respective shape with the mouse cursor. So when I insert a shape, for example a rectangle, on my slide, click in it so that I'm in the text editing mode, I can now insert a symbol, for example a check mark, like that. If the shape is not in the text editing mode, so that if I didn't click in it, the symbol will be inserted in the new shape or a text box. Moreover, in the slide master view, Empower elements, which are the Harvey ball, traffic lights and checkboxes, cannot be inserted, and this has caused problems in the past, so this is fixed in version 9.6. So if I move to the master view of my presentation and select More in the Empower ribbon and try to insert, for example, a Harvey ball, I'll get this notification. Moreover, linking with online file has been optimized and simplified. No app registration is required anymore if you work with online Excel files in OneDrive or Teams. Another new feature that version 9.6 offers you is that the customizing for all of your Empower charts can now be adjusted via one click. To do so, you simply click on the More split button in the Empower ribbon and then click on Change Customizing for Presentation. This window opens where you can select one of the available customizings, and all of your Empower charts in this presentation will then use the selected customizing, and you save the time to select each customizing for each chart. And other small improvements and bug fixes are done in version 9.6. Let's move on to new features in data charts. First of all, the mixed chart, which means a chart that consists of bars and lines, is now available directly in the main menu for inserting new charts. So when I click on Data Charts in the Empower ribbon, I can access the mixed chart type in the line section. Click on it, and as you can see, a mixed chart is automatically generated that consists of columns and a line. Note that mixed charts can be created from any column chart by changing the type of one or more series in the series menu. So you can always navigate to the series menu and change the type in this column of the series menu, because in this dropdown you can select line if desired. Secondly, in bubble charts, individual bubbles can now be brought to the front in case of overlaps. So as you can see, we have these two overlapping bubbles in this exemplary bubble chart, and I can select now point 1, and in the corresponding overlay menu I can click on the button Bring Bubble to Front to change that. Let's take a look on more new features in data charts that I can show you in this waterfall chart right here. First of all, the calculation for delta errors, such as this one, has been optimized and now always aligns with the axis delta between 2 points, also in waterfall charts. Moreover, multiple data labels can now be selected by pressing, for example, Control when I select them. And now all the selected data labels can be formatted via this overlay menu and the corresponding window for the data labels right here. So I could, for example, put them in bold italics and change the label type for these selected data labels this quickly. Moreover, the options for text additions in data labels have been consolidated. This means that when I click on the data labels menu in the action bar above my chart and then click on custom data labels, I can define the custom data label in this window and add several elements to it, for example, free text. And it is now possible to add 2 free text elements, for example, and put one to the front of my data label and one to the back. So now I could type in something right here and right here. And this means that all additions that I want to add to my custom label can now be worked on in the custom data labels menu in this window right here. Furthermore, the space required in charts with multiple arrows, as you can see in this chart right here, has been optimized, so they now look better even if many arrows are used. Next, the icons or color blocks in the legend have been enlarged for better readability. So these little rectangles are now simply a little bit bigger. That makes them easier to see. Moreover, all axis settings can now also be found directly at the axis. So if I select my axis, I can work on it in this corresponding overlay menu that opens up. I can manage the breaks, show the axis title, and define all these other settings, for example, the minimum and maximum of my axis. Another new feature that Empower version 9.6 offers you is that the series colors can be reset to the customizing standard. So if I click on the series menu, I have the button Reset Colors available right here. That resets all series fill colors to the customizing default, which can save me a lot of time while formatting my chart. Lastly, we're going to take a look on new features in Gantt charts. Therefore, I firstly select my Gantt chart, and when I now hover the mouse over Gantt objects, for example this bar right here, or when I want to move it, you can see the information about the start, end, and duration of the bar directly displayed. Moreover, it is now possible to individually adjust the font sizes for the time axis levels. I could, for example, click on the header row of the month and define a certain font size in the corresponding overlay menu and make them, for example, a bit bigger. Moreover, when I'm working with days in the headers, I have the possibility to define which day label I want to use. If I want to use numbers for the days, if I want to work with only one letter for each weekday, or if I want to use 3 letters for the weekdays. So I could now, for example, use only one letter for each day. And as you can see, the row of the days is now inserted, and if I click on it later on, I can also change this setting once again if I want that. And lastly, the position of milestones can be adjusted and defined within the day. To show you this new feature, I created a very simple Gantt chart with few days, because if I now select the milestone right here and click on date setting in the corresponding overlay menu, a new window appears where I can first of all define the date of this milestone and set the position within the day, for example for beginning, mid or end. I'm going to choose beginning and click on OK, and now you can see that the milestone moves to the beginning of the day so that it is easier to visualize that a meeting is, for example, starting in the morning of a day. I hope this video has helped you to understand the awesome new features that Empower Chart Creation version 9.6 offers you. Thanks for watching and goodbye.